only person of your race in a classroom setting?
Not at all. If anything, I am always within the majority race.
Okay, and what is that experience like?
I don't think I have ever really thought anything of it because that's the way it's always been. It's never been really something that has been brought to my attention that this isn't the way that it always is.
Have you ever been the only person of your race in a class?
Yes.
And what was that experience like?
It kind of feels like you're losing contact with your own ethnicity in a way, like you're becoming like one of the other white faces in a sense in your class because you have all these like competitive white people taking the harder classes and you're like the only one non-white person in that class. You kind of feel like you're just becoming just like the other white people in that class.
So I don't have an opportunity to teach the upper level classes, and my classes are very much diverse that I teach right now, both English 11 and English 12. However, being the sponsor of AFLO, which is the African American Future Leaders Organization, and having been involved with that group for over 5 years now, I will say that one of the concerns that students do have that are people of color is the lack of representation in honors classes. They often come to me and complain saying that when any sort of statement is made about race, immediately the class turns their head and looks at them as if they are the spokesperson for their race, and that's disconcerting. They feel that people have a tendency to walk on eggshells whenever racial issues are brought up simply because of the fact that they don't want to offend, but what people aren't understanding is that everybody has an opinion, and that's how we learn is by hearing those opinions. And so it becomes a huge issue when people are too afraid to offend instead of actually speaking what needs to be spoken.
Have you ever felt like you were treated like a representative for your entire race in a class?
Yes, I do. Especially when in a setting where we're talking about slavery or oppression and whatnot, students sometimes look at you like, what's she gonna say? Is she gonna respond? Or when people comment on those things, they look at you to respond, and that can be difficult because you don't want people to feel scared to talk about those things. It's something we should be talking about, just in a respectful way. But yes, I've definitely been in that setting where people look at me, but I just look back.
Why do you think advanced classes often don't demonstrate racial diversity in the students that take them?
Why don't they demonstrate racial diversity? I feel like it's because a lot of black students don't think they can do it. Honestly. Not even that, just like aside from race, I noticed there is a lot of students lack confidence that I can do this or that I am smart enough to do this.
Coming from regular classes, why did you decide to take AP World History last year?
Because going into junior year, I wanted to challenge myself.
Why have you decided not to take more challenging classes in the future?
Because I've talked to some people about some classes that I had wanted to take, and they said that it would be too hard for me.
Why isn't there a lot of it? Probably a lot of advanced achievement tracks with socioeconomic status. And we have a long history of racial discrimination in this country. And so while it's not a kind of a one-to-one relationship, if you're in this class, you're going to be in an advanced. If you're in this social class, you're going to be in this academic course in a school. It tracks sort of like that. And so I think, in our community, one thing that plays into it is just students' family backgrounds, over which they have no control.
Do you think where you have grown up has impacted your choice to take advanced classes?
I think there's a strong correlation between the income of a family and like their chances for success, and I think that Huntington Woods is a place where like family incomes is relatively high in comparison to some of like our neighboring communities like Oak Park. And so I think that my chances for success are like my, you know, like are really heightened by this. And so I think that has been a big factor in deciding like what classes to take.
There's positives and negatives. The positive side to it is you're kind of breaking this racial barrier. You know, you realize that you're the only person of your race, and you know, that's a good thing. I'm setting, you know, higher standards, but at the same time, you're thinking, why is there even a racial barrier in the first place? You know, why is our educational system set up a certain way? Is it wrong for me to be here? Like, there's some kind of pattern, and I'm kind of an outlier.